Welcome everybody to Extreme Power No Handling Autocross, and today we're dealing with the 1971 Meyers Manx. So yeah, this is essentially a stripped down Volkswagen Beetle to make it more, fun and quicker, and also a beach buggy. So yeah, 60 horsepower, 82 pounds-feet of torque from a 1.6 litre flat 4 engine is what it had originally, and it weighs 1,235 pounds. So yeah, if this car is going to have any advantage over other vehicles that we've had on this series, is the weight. Now granted, the likes of the Austin-Healey Sprite Mk1 weren't exactly all that heavy either, but this is a newer car than that Austin-Healey, and yeah, I'm hoping that'll give it a little bit of an edge. So yeah, let's see what we can put in this vehicle in terms of engine and upgrades. So yeah, we can have a 2 litre flat 4 turbo, a 2 litre flat 4 turbo rally, and a 4 litre flat 6. Now the turbo rally does give it the biggest amount of horsepower, 330, but since this is called Extreme Power No Handling, we're going to go for the 4 litre flat 6 to see how much power we can get out of it. So even with the turbos not upgraded, we have 577 horsepower, which is, yeah, more than 500 horsepower than it had originally. So yeah, we're asking it to deal with a hell of a lot of power before we even properly start upgrading everything. As you can see, the numbers on these upgrades are hardly small. It's another 36 horsepower just from the exhaust, 84 from the cams, 29 just from the valves, and from the turbochargers 100. So that brings us up to 910. That's a nice round number, quite frankly. I don't want to make the car any heavier than it needs to be. So let's install that. So yeah, we do obviously weigh a bit more than we did before, but we still weigh less than 1,500 pounds, which is really rather light, especially considering now we have more than 900 horsepower. So yeah, these are the stats that we now have: 910 horsepower, 597 pounds-feet of torque, and it only weighs 1,439 pounds. Interesting to note that only 30% of the weight is at the front, which is extremely low. But yeah, let's just look at the times for our acceleration. So yeah, 5.256 seconds to 60, 8.133 seconds to 100, and we'll do 160 mile an hour. But obviously we're not going to get to 160 mile an hour on this series because we don't have a long enough straight for that. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what this car can do, because obviously it is somewhat capable of going off-road because it is a beach buggy, but it's obviously still rear-wheel drive. It's obviously got no extra handling upgrades, and the car wasn't the best handling in its original form, so yeah, it's got that going against it. But it also is really rather lightweight, which can sometimes help, especially in terms of coming to braking and general handling. But nonetheless, let's get onto the course and see what this car can do. So yeah, we're hardly in the right body type for this series. The rain is certainly getting on us, and yeah, we certainly won't want to be hit by lightning, with that roll bar being a perfect conductor. But nonetheless, let's get out there and see what this car can do. So yeah, inevitably going to be hitting the rev limiter a fair bit. But it's about all about how controllable it is, really. Now granted, this series has been a bit of a tale of two halves, with any car before the year 2000 coming 5th place or lower, and any car from 2000 or newer coming 4th place or higher. So hopefully this Meyers Manx can break that kind of tradition that's pretty much happened so far since this series started. But considering this has plenty of oversteer, as we've already seen by spinning out, I'm a little bit doubtful. Yeah, it is quite clear that this series is somewhat favouring the newer vehicles over the older ones. But that's not to say that no older vehicle could top the leaderboard, or at least come top 3. It's just all about finding the right vehicle. Because quite frankly, I was not expecting that Cadillac Limousine to top the leaderboard, to be honest. So just goes to show that it's cars that you're not really expecting to be good. That might well be good. So yeah, it's all about experimenting, quite frankly. I'm a little bit doubtful that this is going to be such a vehicle though. Yeah, it is all over the place, and we've gone off the cliff. But that is one of the rules. We go off the cliff, we do not restart, we let it restart itself, or reset itself even. It is, after all, down to me, not the car. As we fail once again. Slide down. Keep sliding. Kind of glitching the game out a little bit there. Yeah, there really is a lack of grip at the rear end of this car, which I guess is no surprise. But then the Volkswagen suspension is hardly helping either. We're renowned for how much it flexes and gives us plenty of camber. We're just gonna have to be a little bit more modest with the throttle, to be honest. See the kind of weird things the rear wheels are doing. And that's probably good for a comfy ride or a beach buggy type of environment where you've only got 60 horsepower, but when you're dealing with more than 900 with these really rather tough off-road conditions, that kind of suspension really does not work. Be interesting to see what this can do eventually against the Austin-Healey, because obviously we're not going to beat it with this lap, but now that we've learnt the quirks of the vehicle somewhat, maybe we can get an even faster time, which will be helped if we don't go off the cliff a couple of times. Yeah, that's easily the worst first lap we've had. If we don't make the same mistakes as last time and be a bit more restrained with the throttle, we should be able to go quicker. But what we're going to do in comparison to the other vehicles is still up in the air, quite frankly, because this is really rather one of the trickiest vehicles that we've had on this series so far. Because it's extremely oversteer orientated, which I guess is no surprise when there's 70% of the weight over the back and also rear wheel drive while dealing with more than 900 horsepower, 850 horsepower more than we had originally, which is quite a gap. Somewhat able to get into a stride if we get on a straight, but because of the lack of grip on the rear end, it's, you know, not being able to use all of that power, even if it is really rather quick once you get going. Imagine this fully upgraded with handling upgrades and the like would be a really rather quick car though, if we used it on say extreme off-road silly builds. It has some of the advantages that would make for a quick car in that series, but those same advantages are kind of a hindrance on this series. Fine a little bit. Let's see what we're going to get time-wise. And there we go, 2 minutes 49.603 seconds. which puts us, let's get out these bushes first, right alongside the Mercedes-Benz 280 SL. So we aren't the slowest by any means. In fact, we are 6th quickest. We've actually beaten the Ford Escort RS Cosworth, as well as thrashing the likes of the Hillman Imp and the Austin-Healey Sprite Mk1. So yeah, despite that rather disastrous first lap, we yeah, improved massively by nearly a minute, in fact. So yeah, really pleased with how that turned out eventually, but again, it has kind of proven the rule that this series is somewhat more favouring the more modern cars than the older cars. But you know, we've only had 9 vehicles on this series so far, so it's a bit too early to jump to conclusions, because obviously there are some older off-road vehicles that are around this period as well, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do. But for now, yeah, pre-2000s cars at the moment are losing out to the more modern vehicles, but nonetheless that is still really rather good considering all the extra power it's dealing with, the fact it's not got very much in the way of weight, the suspension is really rather bad, and the rear tyres aren't all that wide, and when you're dealing with the amount of power we have, you need as wide tyres as possible, and yeah, they really do not cut it, quite frankly. So yeah, really rather pleased with that, and the fact it's only slightly behind the Mercedes-Benz 280 SL, which was pretty you know, trouble-free, is really rather good, quite frankly, and yeah, just goes to show that the acceleration and the lack of weight really did help in some regards. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.